The following program is suitable for viewing by children under the supervision of adults. Parental discretion is advised.
In primetime news this evening, cocaine bust, high-level probe deepens at the Kingston Container Terminal. KPH gets surgeries back on track after operating theatre disruption. And fire victims back home after treatment in the United States.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on air and online at onespotmedia.com, and a special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands. I'm Shamela Pullen. There's also Saturday Sports Special and weather in this newscast, so please stay with us. Details right after the break. Welcome back to Primetime News. Up first this evening, investigators are continuing their high-level probe following a major cocaine bust at the Kingston Container Terminal, KCT. The estimated value of the cocaine seized is more than $1 billion. Several people employed to the KCT were taken into custody yesterday. This is after operatives from the FNID and Jamaica Customs Agency, backed by the Specialized Operations Branch, swooped down on the facility. Sources say 10 people are being held in connection with the drug find. The employees are suspected of running a smuggling syndicate at the terminal. Efforts are underway at the Kingston Public Hospital to get surgeries back on schedule following a period of disruption. The hospital says repairs have been completed on its operating theaters. Details in this report. One of the theaters was out of service for some time due to a malfunction. The necessary parts had to be sourced from overseas. Chief Executive Officer at the Kingston Public Hospital, Dwayne Francis, says the parts have since arrived and the theater has been repaired.
We would have received the HEPA filters for the main operating theater, and the OPD South theaters are now operational. So in total, we have 6 operating theaters functional at this time. We continue to monitor the system and to ensure that these units remain operational despite their age. There is plans afoot also to replace those central units because of their age and to ensure for continuity and reduction in downtime of the theater units because of air conditioning unit challenges. So we are now moving to the second phase of planning for the replacement of the unit.
Mr. Francis says the hospital is now trying to clear a backlog of surgeries.
So some of the patients who were affected with our theaters being down were those patients who are elective cases. An elective case patient is a patient who is, their surgery is important, but it is not critical. and as such, they would have gotten booked appointments for the cases to be done. The institution, however, understands the impact it has on the patient and also their family, and we ask for their understanding while we continue to improve on our service and get back to normal operation.
He says the hospital is working to return to normal surgical operations. However, an elevator issue remains a challenge.
Yes, they are. So our elevators are working. We would have gotten up 2 of the 3 elevators that were down on the main surgical block. The third one, the contractor is awaiting delivery of parts to have that one up. And once that part comes, the elevator will be up. So out of 4 elevators on the main administrative block, 3 will be operational in short, and 1 is for total replacement. And that is currently something we're working on having done.
Overcrowding at the accident and emergency department is also a concern. Mr. Francis is urging patients who do not require emergency care to seek treatment at the primary care level, including clinics. The family of 2 burn victims who received medical treatment overseas are breathing a sigh of relief this evening. The men are back in Jamaica. Janella Precious has the details.
Ivy Buckley is all smiles.
Because my brother is back home with us.
Her brother is one of 2 surviving victims of the May 27th garage explosion on South Camp Road. The men, Fabian Brown and Richard McPherson, arrived in Jamaica Friday after receiving treatment overseas. Although not fully recovered, Fabian Brown says he's happy to be back home.
Overseas treatment was very good. We got professional and thorough treatment, because if not for that, then I would not have made it. And I'm very glad that I was brought overseas by the Burn Foundation and Trinity Airlines in order to receive that treatment. As if not for them, I would not be here today.
He's, however, mindful that the journey to recovery will be long.
But the treatment will continue for some time, because I'm currently disabled in the left foot, and the whole burns, I received more than 50% burns to my body, so this will take up more than a year, maybe 2 years.
The men were among 3 of the victims who were flown overseas for medical care. This was made possible by the Burn Foundation and the Crisis Support Charity. Their colleague, Damian Walters, didn't make the trip back home. He died a few weeks ago.
It was one of the most ambitious missions taken on by any organization in the Caribbean, which you can see it is a success. And first, we have to give God the honor and the glory for sparing these gentlemen life who survived this ordeal. And so our involvement was organizing the hospital, ensuring that the funding was able, because 1 burn victim to go overseas, anyone could imagine what that cost is. And so we were able to mobilize international support and other international hospitals to have them quickly and swiftly flown to the United States.
Co-founder of the Crisis Support and Burn Foundation of Jamaica, Stephen Josephs, says the men will have to return overseas for medical follow-ups later in the year.
Both gentlemen in total have gone through 18 surgeries. And so in November, they will have to go back to the U.S. To do follow-up treatment on these injuries.
But why have them come back to go back November?
Well, it's a partnership. Jamaica and the UTECH has the capability in terms of to do the occupational therapy, the physiotherapy. And so it's a partnership between institutions.
Family members are grateful for the help and are also relieved.
At time it was tense, because he was in a lot of pain. So, and then otherwise it's all right. It was all right.
But you're happy that he was able to get treatment overseas, right?
Yes, I was, and quickly, like that.
You think that made a difference for him?
Yes, yes, I do. I do think that make a lot of difference.
Why do you think so?
Yes, because it saved his life. Because we don't know if he would survive if he was out here, if he could manage the pain and whatever he was going through.
How badly was he burned?
It was a third degree burn, right?
Janella Precious, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Guardian Group says it will continue supporting the 2 employees as they recover in Jamaica. The company says it coordinated specialized overseas treatment and worked with local and international medical teams to ensure continuity of care. Executive Chairman Kenneth Benjamin says the employees' return is an important milestone with support to continue throughout their rehabilitation. Water restrictions are getting worse in parts of Kingston and St. Andrew. Inland mountain communities that usually get plenty of rain are also feeling the effects. These areas have little to no significant rainfall for weeks. Details in this report from Dwayne Anderson.
The Wagwater River watershed was once one of the wettest areas on the eastern end of the island, but things have changed, and residents who live in Scotts Hall and the surrounding parts of St. Mary and St. Andrew have felt the changes more than most. Where rivers and streams once snaked, rocks stand alert and soil lay bare.
It's really bad. We haven't had a rainfall in quite a while. We have people have to be going like 4, 5, 6 miles just to get water. And water has been a serious issue in St. Mary, in southeast St. Mary, in Scotts Hall.
We used to always have water because there's a water hole up the stream here, which every one of the younger generation, them, all of us at the same age, we used to go up there and swim like every Sunday. Now it is the hottest time I ever witnessed in my life and the driest time.
The end result, no water to drink, wash clothes, or for other domestic purposes.
You have also people have to be like trucking water, buying water, and it's very expensive to purchase water for your household. You know, when you can buy a case of water to drink, to do the household stuff, you have to purchase water, and it's very expensive.
The little water that sputters through the stream is handled with extreme care by some, a precious commodity harnessed and stored for future use. But amid the struggle is an acceptance that human activity has led us to these extreme climatic conditions.
As our ancestors used to preserve it properly. This generation now, you would say from the 70s come along, they don't teach their children to recycle, preserve the environment.
Even planning for the annual Maroon Festival in Scotts Hall this year required extra planning due to the dry spell.
But we were so smart in doing all of this. Before this event, we started putting together our resources into restoring all the water that we can reserve it for this event. So we don't really have much of a water problem on this day because we have been proactive.
This drumming, dancing and singing by the Maroons at the Kwao Native Festival is part of their custom at this celebration, but it may as well have been a rain dance, begging the heavens for rains as the drought tightens its grip on the community. Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
We take another break, but there's more local stories when we return.
In a world where our health defines our future and the
Welcome back to Primetime News. Negotiations between the University of Technology and the Students' Union Council have ended. Students' Union Council President Joel Brown says the university has agreed to reduce the fees and the council is now satisfied with the outcome.
For the enrollment commitment deposit, we have reduced it from $60,000 to $50,000 in semester 1 and $40,000 in semester 2 for local students. For international students, we have reduced it from $400 to $312 in semester 1 and $250 in semester 2. As it relates to the proposed 10% tuition increase for all students, we were successful in reducing that to 7% for incoming students and 5% for returning students. I want to sincerely thank all counselors for their support, which has made our accomplishments possible. We also want to thank the university administration for compromising as we continue to act in the best interest of the students.
Vendors continue to sell on the streets of Port Maria, St. Mary, despite space at the town's market. Mayor Fitzroy Wilson says the market is operating at less than half capacity. More in this report. Navigating Port Maria can be tough on some days as traffic crawls through the rural town. The situation is partly due to street vending. Mayor Fitzroy Wilson says efforts are underway to fix the traffic issue, but says the process is being frustrated as some vendors refuse to use the market.
I know that when I came to the town, the traffic congestion in the town would have been one of the main things that the business people in the town would have complained about. They would have complained about the vending on the street, illegal vending, and how difficult it is to do business in the town, and also for the vehicular traffic to traverse the town.
The mayor says things have improved with less vending on the sidewalks, but some vendors are still selling goods on the streets.
We came to the town, the market vending on the sidewalk, you could not have walked from the sidewalks. It is way better now. Not where we wanted to go, because most of the vendors are still not in the market. It is a beautiful market that is there, and it is less than 50% occupancy. So it is difficult to have a market like that, and we still have persons selling grown provisions on the street, blocking the sidewalk.
The mayor says the low market use is a concern.
Having to be cleaning the drains in the town because we would have seen the flooding over the years. And when I came, we assessed the town and we said, if the drainage system works, we will have less issue with flooding. So we've embarked on the 2 years, we have cleaned all the major drains in the town. We would have had maybe more rainfall last year and the year before, more than maybe 20 years the amount of rainfall over that period of time.
Stay with us. International news is after the break. Welcome back to Primetime News. In news overseas, UN experts are calling for an end to Cuba's energy starvation amid U.S. oil restrictions. The U.S. has also sanctioned 5 Cuban entities and 8 individuals. More from the CNN.
The Trump administration has hit the Cuban government with a new round of sanctions targeting Cuban government entities and officials, some of the military officers. This may be largely symbolic because these are not entities or officials that have any kind of presence in the U.S., any assets in the U.S., but it's a further sign that the Trump administration, specifically Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who is Cuban-American, continue to up the pressure campaign against this government, which has included an oil embargo on this island. There are very few tourists, if any, on the streets at this moment. The island's economy is basically grinding to a halt every day. It's getting harder and harder, many Cubans tell me, to live here, to feed themselves. Power's off most of the time at this moment. The Cuban government has said that they plan to continue, that they are willing to negotiate with the U.S., but they're not going to make any major concessions. And so that is the standoff we're experiencing at the moment.
The Primetime News package continues with sports after the break.